Hello, today, Wealth Warriors. It's real estate roundup time. Today, we're joined by a Marine Corps veteran, engineer with degrees from UCLA and Stanford. He's a seasoned real estate investor, building his portfolio while he's still working his day job. Through his company, the Flow Authority, he helps others achieve financial freedom through active and passive income, real estate income, and also offers a unique network marketing opportunity within the industry. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Chris, how are we doing today?
Thanks, Jody. I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so that's a great intro. Pretty much, I grew up in the Midwest, out there in Wisconsin. Joined the Marine Corps fresh out of high school, and realized real quickly that that wasn't for me. But there's a lot of great lessons learned in there, a lot of great benefits I got out of it, and met some of the best people that I'm still friends with today. So nothing bad from that. And then, moved out to California, went through community college, undergrad, graduate school, and got my dream job right out of there. And kind of slowly moving up the ranks. I'm now going on 8 years in engineering. Um, but the one challenge that I run into, I mean, this is partly just being out here in California, but also just in general. Like people think, oh, I'm going to go to be an engineer, go to school to be an engineer. I'm going to make all this money, and I'm going to do really well for myself and have an awesome career. And you can have a great career, but the pay is not what you would think for an engineer. And to the fact that, after 8 years, I have a condo that I'm living in, and it's tough to pay the bills. And that's with not only the compensation from my full-time job, including bonuses and all that, as well as I get a monthly stipend basically from the VA for my time in service, as well as my rental properties, right? So all these different multiple streams of income, as well as the marketing business. So with all of that, it's still a challenge. And so, I kind of just got to a point where I'm like, I need to figure out a different path forward. And for me, real estate is that path. And so I've been investing in real estate. I mean, I've been learning about it, reading about it, bought my first property in 2020. So 4.5 years ago now, but really started getting deep into the active investing side of things about 2 years ago, and that kind of is where my journey started there.
Nice. Well, first, thank you for your service. Um, how long were you in?
I did 4 years,
4 years.
yeah, 2008 to 2012.
Nice.
So
And lucky enough to land your dream job, man. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
And still can't all them income streams still can't afford it in Cali. What part of Cali are you in?
I'm in Southern California, Orange County.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
It's I mean, whether it's LA County, Orange County, San Diego County, or even up in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's even more expensive up there. Um, and what I'm learning now, getting more into the real estate side, is not only is it more expensive, but there are a lot of extra risks and liabilities with being any type of business owner here in California, especially a landlord. So that added on top of everything else is making it a little bit challenging. So
Wow. So you're actually investing in your real estate right there in California, not going out of state with your investments or
I'm actually mostly out of state. I own two condos here. One of them is I'm living in, so not really an investment. The other one, it's that first condo I bought back in 2020, and now it's a rental now. So that one's actually cash flowing a couple $100 a month. And the interest rate's really, really low. So I'm getting a lot of the income on that is kind of appreciation and equity, right? As I pay down that mortgage, I mean, about half the payments going to the mortgage, which is normally, it'll take, I don't know, 15 to 20 years for it to cross that point. I've only owned like I said, own this for 4.5 years, and I'm already pretty much at that threshold. So definitely worth holding on to for that.
It sounds like you bought it right there in COVID, in the middle of COVID. So did you buy it and live in
Yeah.
it first, and so you didn't have to deal with the madness going on there? Or-
Yeah, exactly. I actually, before I bought the condo, I was looking at duplexes out here and hoping I could house hack a little bit. But the challenge with that is one, I didn't have any reserves whatsoever. I kind of just decided on a whim, like, hey, I just learned about real estate and it sounds really cool. Sounds like a great thing. And I've got this VA loan. I can go buy a duplex and rent out one unit, no money down, right? I knew nothing about any of like the closing costs. I didn't even know what closing costs were, that was a thing and how much that would be. Um, Knew just about nothing. So there was risk because I didn't know anything. There was risk because I had no reserves. There was risk because they had the rent moratorium, and who knows how long that was going to go. And there's risk because it's California, and they were probably going to prolong that, which I believe they did, like compared to the other all the other states. So
Yeah.
yeah, so at the end of the day, I almost pulled the trigger on a duplex. It was a really cool house. It was actually an historic, it's like listed as a historic house, designed by some, I forget the guy's name now, but he was a famous architect for the area. So it was a really beautiful house. But the other thing with that is I would have to live in the little bungalow, like single bed bungalow in the back, while the tenant would be paying half as much as me and living in the big house in the front. So it
Wow.
just, I was willing to do it because I just wanted to get into my first deal and make something happen. But um, with all those other factors at play, and it was right on the verge of a really bad part of town and a really upscale part of town, like right in the middle of it. And there is, I drove by there actually with my mom when she came and visited me once, and I was kind of in this point trying to make a decision, and we went back down through the alley, which is how you would access the garage, and there was like a bunch of trash, and somebody's pants were right in front of the garage, bunch of homeless people hanging out across in the alleyway and stuff. So I don't know. We both got kind of bad vibes from it and just decided not to do it. And even if we put an offer, who knows if it would have gotten accepted anyways. But that was kind of the start of it. I was a little bit, down, I guess, from that. But then I'm like, hey, I saw all these condos for sale, right? At a third of the price of what that duplex was. I'm like, I could at least stop renting and go take advantage of these low rates. And I actually ended up offering a little bit more than what they were asking and asked them to pay the closing costs, and they did. So I didn't have any out-of-pocket expenses. So it
Very
was
nice.
beautiful because I knew nothing. So, my realtor did not prep me for this, and she just starts sending me things, and I'm like, "What's this? I didn't know I needed to do a home inspection. Like, what's the cost? Do I need to pay for that? I thought I didn't need to pay for stuff because I'm a veteran, and I just didn't know."
Yeah.
So,
No, I understand. I walked into my first house hack. It was three houses, one lot, and I walked into closing. I'd never closed a house before. It was
yeah,
a for sale by owner, so
okay,
that made it even worse because there was no realtor to tell me anything. I
yeah,
showed up at closing table. We didn't have the closing. We didn't have a loan set up yet. Nothing.
oh
And of
wow,
course, they were real helpful and basically, this is what you got to go do. And but that was
yeah.
not the closing table. So needless to say, we didn't close the first time, but we did the second. So
Well, that's good.
uh,
I mean, a lot of this is learned by doing, right? So, um, but I'm really happy I bought that property. And, at literally 1 year later, the thing shot up in value as everyone's property did during that time. So I'm like, hey, I bought in relatively, I bought in low, right? And property price went way up. I'm still paying this low interest rate. Now I got all this equity. Still knew nothing about anything about real estate except I read one book, which was a great book. But you can't go, it's not enough to be dangerous and know what you're doing. So, However, after that year, I started looking at the same thing. Oh, because this was my one trick pony that I knew how to do was house hack. So I'm like, hey, now I got equity. Now I can go play and I can go put offers in on, these 4 units. And so I put about 15 offers in throughout. I was not very picky as far as the area. It was pretty much anywhere in Orange County and selected areas in LA County, like Long Beach and Whittier. Um, so yeah, put in about 15 offers. Every single one of those offers, I got outbid. And then the next time I would put in a higher bid and the next one, I'd be less and less conservative. And so I'm honestly fortunate. I mean, who knows? It could have worked out, but I consider myself lucky that it didn't work out because I kept the property I had. I kept the low interest rate, which I didn't realize what I would have been giving up. And, then when I met this group that I'm in now, I learned about HELOCs and how you can leverage your equity without selling your property and use that to go buy other properties. And okay, if you want to go out of state because it's just challenging in California with all these institutional buyers and international buyers and things paying cash, then you can do that out of state. And they kind of showed me how to do that and safely. So
Nice. And so which state are you invested in now other than there?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's
I,
where I
I,
grew up. So I
I
kind of gravitate toward there because I'm like, hey, Midwest, good for cash flow, low prices. That's what I want. And I grew up in Wisconsin. I know the area generally. I still have family there. I have friends there. And actually, a lot of the folks in my little investment group that we have are still live there in Wisconsin as well.
oh
So
wow.
it's nice because we have some boots on the ground through them, and I get referrals from other investors there all the time as well. Yeah. So that served me pretty well.
Nice. Yeah, it's real nice when you have a community or somebody you can go to when you need something and you're not in the area. That makes doing this stuff virtually way easier. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't come without its challenges and risks and issues and headaches and all that, um, but that's just part of the learning process too. And part of that is also that I'm very stubborn. So I could learn the right way to do it and still do it a different way because I'm stubborn, and then I'll learn that way that, oh shoot, I should have listened to the guy who's been doing this for 20 years, right? And but you know, it's part of the process.
oh yeah. Circle back to that low interest rate. So you kept it with a HELOC and they taught you the value of it. In the mentorship I'm in, they basically teach on how to go for those. Those are the gold mine, the diamond in the rough, basically. That there for a few minutes the last couple of years, you could get those real easy, but they're getting more challenging to find. Are you still looking at stuff like that way of getting, or are you moved on to just
Not
what?
really. Yeah. Yeah, not really. Because that HELOC was easy to get because it was still my primary residence at the time when I got it. And I had so much equity that built up. The appraisal actually came in less than I had hoped. So, because of that, the HELOC amount is less than I'd hoped, but it's still good. I mean, it's a healthy amount. Um, and uh and because I'm a veteran, I went through Navy Federal, who has great, I mean, the interest rate is a little higher, I think, than I could have gotten elsewhere, but the terms were great in that they have a 20-year draw and then a 20-year loan period after the draw. So a 40-year overall, loan duration, which I have not seen anywhere else. And they also do 95% loan to value on their HELOCs, which is pretty great. Like most others that I saw were like 80, 85%. Some were 75%. And if it's not my primary residence and it's an investment property, then it was like 70 to 75% was more the range. And so since I'm still fairly new to all this, yes, I have equity in my properties, but generally not enough where it makes sense to get a HELOC at this time yet because they're all investment properties. And if I do pretty much, if I do 70% equity, it's going to give me like nothing. left over. That's pretty much, or sorry, 70% loan to value because that's about where my equity is,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah,
Interesting. So Navy Federal, of course, you've got to be a veteran to.
veteran, yeah,
Nice. And
yeah. But I have heard good things about like I'm not going to say any specific names of banks or anything, but I have heard really good things about just local credit unions and having relationships with local credit unions. I've even heard of some giving 100% loan to value. I don't know if they're still doing that or if that was a short-term promotional thing, um, but yeah, it pays to have those relationships. So that's one thing that I'm working on right now. And I have found a challenge in that being an out-of-state investor, because a lot of those local credit unions want you to live there locally, and my business is there locally. I have properties there. I have family there. So some are okay with that. But then, I also have a holding company that owns my local LLCs, and that's out of Wyoming, and they don't like that. So it just depends on the bank. So it's a lot of networking and talking to folks. But yeah, if you live in the area you invest, it might be a little easier to build that relationship with the local credit unions.
yeah, for sure. So, your stuff in Wyoming, is it I mean, in Wisconsin,
Mhm.
is it a condo too, or is it something different up there?
No, no, I have two duplexes and one single family home right now, and I'm actually under contract currently for a 5 unit. Well, it's legally it's a 4 unit, so it's a legal 4 unit, illegal has an illegal fifth unit in the attic in Milwaukee as well.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, I did an inspection. They always find stuff on that, um, but that's why I do it because they find important things that most of the time it's not just like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Like, just trying to get a drop in the price. It's legitimate stuff that you should probably fix or at least plan to fix in the next couple of years. For example, on this one, like the roof, they advertise 5 units, even though legally it's four,
Mhm.
and I confirmed that several different ways. But the other thing is that the roof is they advertise a newer roof and they have a new layer of shingles on the roof, but it's the fourth layer of shingles.
Oh, wow.
And I forget, I think my inspector said it's like 800 pounds per layer or something. So I mean you're talking 3,000 pounds of weight, sitting on top of that roof. And legally, you can only have two. You can have three if you have an engineer's report kind of certifying that, hey, this structure can handle that much weight. But that's it. So again, no permits. That's kind of the theme. This area in Milwaukee, albeit, it's very common to do that, to just not pull permits for just about anything, which is unfortunate. But it is just kind of how investors do things out there. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we had a house that we were going to buy. We were buying it from a wholesaler, actually, not too long ago at all. And thankfully, my partner was like, "There's a big tree in that front yard. I've had problems with roots and in sewers and pipes and stuff, so I
yeah,
think we ought to have an inspector out for that." And although
yeah.
that wasn't a problem when he run it down there, he crawled in the attic, and the house had burnt at one time. And
Mm,
you know, they had replaced half of the lower joist there, not the joist, the rafter, but
okay.
the part that was up top and actually holding the roof. I mean, the cracks in the wood from the burning, and they just spray painted it white. And
Oh, wow.
so
Yeah.
needless to say, at that point we were like no deal, and
Yeah.
probably one of the best $500 that I've spent not to buy a house.
Right, right. Yeah. And and the the realtor on this one, he's basically said, "Oh, it'd be a shame if you walked away after spending all that money and spending all that time." I'm just like, I do that to protect myself. And if I don't move forward, that means that I feel there's more risk in moving forward than I'm comfortable, and I'd rather lose out on that money and time, right? I mean, that's just the balance, and it's a big decision. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm somewhat hopeful, but they are pushing back a little bit and trying to play some games, it seems. So um, we'll
So are
see.
you having them lower the price to cover the roof, or they just got to cover getting the roof done, or how?
Yeah, I gave them a couple options. So Um, the first option was basically, hey, you advertised a 5 unit with a newer roof. So deliver me a permitted, compliant 5 unit with the newer roof, and I'll give you, and we'll stick to the terms we already had, right? We won't change anything about our terms. Just you got to fix those the main things, which there were some major stuff like the electrical. Um, the problem with that is if they go to try pull permits on this fifth unit, it's zoned for 4 units and below. So they might not even get it approved because of that alone, right? They'd have to get a variance. And if that went through, now the inspector's gonna come and it could open up a whole can of worms. So I understand why they wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that either, but that's what was advertised. So I gave that option. I also gave an option of, hey, I looked at it as a 4 unit. If we're not going to go that route, get it permitted. If we don't fix any of the stuff in that fifth unit, and so I lowered the price to reflect a 4 unit. And then there was sort of a hybrid option that I gave. And then they countered via email, sort of unofficially, right? They countered and um, and they gave me kind of a hybrid of the second and third options. So the price was between those two, but they had less favorable terms on the financing side of it. Um, and I was okay with that. It worked. And I said, hey, I'm good to go with this, write up the paperwork and let's move forward. And if like, I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours later, he messaged me and said, oh, I talked to the seller again, and he realized that he's paying the covering the closing costs, which is normally that's the case when he chose to use a realtor, and when you choose to use a realtor, typically the seller will pay all of the closing costs associated with that fees. I'm still paying a small portion of that fee, but most of it was on him. But that was always the case from our first agreement, our first accepted offer. And so he came back and basically raised the price exactly 4% of the purchase price, which is the realtor commissions, and said, "Hey, if I'm gonna pay the closing costs, I need to account for that." And it's like, well, then you're not really paying the closing costs, are you? Right? Now I'm paying the closing costs, which
Yeah,
is that's not gonna happen. I'm like, like if it were up to me, we wouldn't be using a realtor. I don't need a realtor to do this. That was your choice, and I didn't even, one big lesson learned on this is I agreed to just, not have my own representation, and so that realtor is duly representing us, but he's really not. The
yeah,
seller's his friend, he's
yeah,
his buddy, so. Um, Legally he's supposed to, but he's not. I mean, what pays him the commission? The seller,
yeah,
right? So
yeah. Yeah.
lots of lessons learned on this one, as per usual, but that's good. I mean, I can take that moving forward and share that with the team.
Nice.
So
So with the team, you've got a team going on, or your team of the group of people you're
yeah, the group of people that are investing kind of together with me. So so we have so my company is called the Flow Authority, and basically I help people become the authority of their flow, meaning regain control of their life. Their flow is your life and how you choose to live it. And I do that by helping people get educated and get started in real estate investing because that's the path I'm going, and I see it very clearly. I'm experienced, I'm confident in it. And so I've partnered with a company that provides tremendous amount of education in real estate investing and helped over 2,000 people get started across the nation. And so there's a bunch of kind of subgroups within that. And one of those groups, that the one that I'm a part of, we meet every Sunday and we do like a mastermind call, a 45-minute call. People bring deals to the call, and we'll kind of look at it together and just get another set of eyes on it. But whenever I'm going through a deal, I usually will bring it several times until the thing closes, just to continue to like, keep people updated, let them know what's going on so they can learn from my experiences as well. And others will do the same. So it's really nice to have to share that knowledge with them. And then when others are going through deals, they can share that knowledge with me as well. And we can kind of learn together. And so it's the education, but also that community element is huge.
Yeah. That's I think that's the best thing in the community. I mean, it's not a mentorship or nothing like that. It's literally a community
Yeah.
and people actually looking to help other people.
Yeah.
All the way from get started to it may be your 100th deal and they're willing to help you no matter what. So it's
Right.
a different vibe. There you go.
Yeah. And I haven't joined any RIA groups, but and I can't speak for so I can't really speak for the RIA groups. Those are, I think, probably a lot lower fees and costs and things like that. But I don't know, the couple people that I know in the group that have done that, what they have told me is it's like hawkish in there. Like if you bring a deal, people will steal deals from each other and stuff like that, or you got to use their guy or I don't know what the repercussions are, but it's like you're supposed to use everybody's people within that network sort of thing. At least that's what their experience was in their local RIA. That's definitely not the case with us. I mean, we just had our national conference, which is in Utah every March. And so I was there, I went out there in person. A lot of the folks in our little group were out there as well. I think there was about 500 people there in attendance. Um, but I met a lot of people that I've never met before, folks that were up on real estate panels during the conference, and everybody was so welcoming, and willing to just share whatever information, contacts, anything that they had, even though I already paid for my education. Like there's nothing they can really gain from that financially, at least not right this second. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great to network with people. And I think it's just that sort of pay it forward mentality, right? I mean, people helped them and lifted them up when they got introduced to all this, and they see me and I'm just asking for help, and then they're trying to lift me up as well. So that's kind of the culture that we're bre
Yeah.
breeding there. So yeah.
Ours in the one I'm in is givers gain, and it literally everybody's willing to give whatever to help and whatnot, and of course everybody
Yeah.
grows with that too. And so uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
there
it's
was
great.
we just had our national convention too. In fact, last weekend, and talking about the so we had a pre-event before the event, and went to that and listened to some of the guys that were doing the stuff they were doing and literally world changing stuff. One guy that stands out was definitely the guy that helping veterans. He's helping get them
Mm,
off the streets, get them into homes, helping them rebuild their lives and whatnot. And
yeah.
they're actually currently in Houston taking what somebody was stopped building. They had a container home that was going to be they were building a nice house out of. And I don't know what the problem was with not finishing and whatnot, but these guys have now taken it over and they're going to make 9 different units for veterans down there. So,
Oh,
um,
that's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, these communities, like I said, you can't explain what all's going on. You can't even, yeah, it's just,
Yeah. Yeah. And, there are investors out there doing good things for humanity. So I feel like investors get a bad rap because there are definitely some bad eggs out there, right, who just are trying to take advantage. But from what I've seen, those people don't generally last very long, anyways, as investors, just because I don't know what it is. If you call it karma or whatever, but um, what I've been told from the most successful people in our group and throughout this community is you got to go in there with an intention of service every time, right? You have to go in there. Who am I serving? How am I helping them? And go in there with that mentality, not how am I get the lowest price, and disregarding the other person completely. How am I going to take advantage of this person and their situation, right? That's not what it's about. I mean, even when you talk about foreclosures, I haven't really dabbled in that, at least not yet, um, but you are helping people out of a tough situation, right? Because their alternative is basically, let the bank foreclose on you. You're going to lose your house. You're going to have a foreclosure on your record. Um, what other alternative do you have? Are you can file bankruptcy and delay the process. Now you got bankruptcy on your record. And so when an investor comes in and is able to take over their payments for them, get them up to date, remove that from their record, and and give them a little bit of money to go start fresh. I mean, that's huge. Like you're helping them, they're helping you. I mean, it's a win-win.
Oh yeah,
So,
especially keeping that foreclosure off their credit. That's you get a foreclosure
yeah,
on there, and it's going to be hard to buy anything else for the next 7 years, versus
yeah,
just saving them from that. Maybe they get their life back together, and it may take them a year or two, but they get their life back together, and then they're able to do it again because you didn't let a foreclosure go on the record. So yeah, there's a lot of value in it. And then I I know there's people in our community, but one. In particular, Caroline, she's actually saved people's houses from going to foreclosure and kept them in it, got it where they could stay in it. And
oh, okay.
um,
She sold it back to them somehow,
no,
or
no, it wasn't nothing like that because that'll get you in trouble. But
okay.
basically, basically, she literally helped them go through the process to be able to adjust whatever needed to be adjusted with the bank to actually keep the home.
Oh,
So
okay.
um,
Gotcha.
I don't know what it's called because honestly, I got about that close to going ahead and jumping into wholesale and um,
Yeah.
learned that hey, you don't have to go there. And I was already a buyer, and of course, doing it on my own and stuff versus a team and everything. And so that's when I learned that it was like, no, I really don't want to go there. And honestly, it was it's not because of part of it is just not my personality. And there's people doing great things to help people even in that. I met some people actually last weekend that help them stay in their home by literally buying it, giving them a structure and basically a way to even buy it back in 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, which that one was pretty cool how they were doing that. So.
Is that with like a lease option kind of strategy or
I couldn't tell you all the details
yeah.
of it. He was just,
Yeah.
he was actually looking for private money lenders that wanted to make an impact with their investing. And so,
Okay.
needless to say, that aligned with what we do because that's our goal is to help our investors make an impact as we make an impact. And
Yeah.
so it aligned there, and he told me enough about it that, I could just tell you that basically they're helping people instead of just saving their house from foreclosure and having to move out from literally buying their house and giving an option to where they even the first year they will not have payments on their own house.
Hmm.
So it helps them literally get back on their feet. And as long as they follow the steps and they rebuild the credit like they help them do and everything, then they're able to. He was telling me some of them at 1 year they've got the next year to do it, and in that next year they actually have payments though.
Got it. Okay.
So
Nice.
yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, it's all sorts of cool things going on that most people don't even know about.
Yeah. So yeah. Um yeah, so what kind of strategies are you using right now? Are you actively investing yourself
We're
or
actively investing, and I've got a few different ones, but my main one, I've built a team to start scaling, and we're going after the co-living model. So we're helping people with the housing affordability crisis that are actually impacted in it. Helping them actually live in the communities they serve. So
nice. Cool.
instead of having to drive 50, 70 miles into a town that you're serving, you can stay right there in the town. So.
Okay. Nice.
And so we on your intro there, we said this piece about network marketing. Now I've been in and out of network marketing for a lot of years, and I actually
Uh-huh.
love network marketing. That may be because the first residual income I ever earned was out of network marketing. So how do you tie that into real estate, though? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the education company that I mentioned that I'm partnered with, that's their marketing model is a network marketing model, which is I think perfect for this scenario because you've got people who are going in there. buying this educational product, using it, having success with it, and then naturally they're gonna go talk about this anyways, right, to their friends and family. And even if they don't, people are gonna see what they're doing, and they're gonna ask questions like, what's going, where'd you learn all this stuff? How many properties do you have? Right? They're gonna start asking these questions and want to know more. And hey, introduce me, want to be introduced to it. So to me, it makes perfect sense. And it's great because as you experience more success with the real estate, what I've found is the marketing side gets easier and easier, right? Because then people start to trust you. You're posting new deals all the time. Oh, Chris really knows what he's doing, right? He's doing deals all the time, or he's analyzing deals all the time. And then they can build that trust and help other people get started themselves. So yeah, so the marketing piece, it's basically it's kind of a stepwise model where you kind of start in, and then you get a certain amount of commissions, and then as you sell products, you increase your rank until you get to what we call 5 star. And when you get to 5 star, you don't ever have to requalify for this. I think some other network marketing models, every month you have to requalify. But for this one, yeah, once you hit your that rank, then you're a 5 star and you make the full commission value, which in this case is roughly 50%. And so it's pretty good. It's really good. And then, as you build a team underneath you, now I have never been pressured in this company to market the education. In fact, I came into it having experienced a different, network marketing company as a health coach. That was my first stint doing that. And it wasn't a great experience. I didn't like it at all. And I actually told my, upline, I'm like, hey, I don't want to do this. I don't want to post on Facebook. I'm done with social media. I just want to invest in real estate. And like 2 months into it, I came back to them and said, you know what? I want to try. I want to try this thing. They didn't even bring it up. They respected what I told them initially. So there's really no pressure with it. It just it when you start to have that success with the actual real estate and people start asking you questions, it really becomes a no-brainer because it's like $200 a year to
Oh, wow.
for that option to market, right? So I'm like, okay, pay $200 a year, you make one sale in the year, or even if you don't, and it takes you 2 years to make the sale, you'll make a profit, right, off of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what where I saw the value in it. And so I'm working my way up. I'm almost to 3 star, and then the next would be 5 star. So slowly working my way up, but I'm really focusing right now more on the real estate than I am on the marketing. I'm still talking to people every week. I'm still actively doing both, but I just believe in that model, and that's just what I've seen so far is as I am successful in the real estate, the other part kind of follows suit. So
I like that. I mean, I like that it's able to help people where they're at and help them get more. And then I really like it because from doing one thing, really, you're getting two income streams. So,
yeah,
and that's
and
not including all the other income that streams or what you can count as money in on the real estate side.
yeah, and there's I'll be honest, I haven't particularly done this strategy, but I know a lot of people in the group who have, and we call this three-dimensional investing, and this is where and this works really well with fix and flips. You could also do it with the short-term rental. Anytime the rental's vacant, you could do this. But basically, we'll as we're fixing and flipping the property, we'll do what we call a property tour. And so we'll advertise online and have it, streamed online, but we'll also have it in person at the property and advertise throughout the neighborhood. Invite people over. We invite, whoever's on your team, your contractors, handyman, home inspector, realtor, mortgage broker, all that stuff. Bring everybody in and we'll show people exactly what we're doing. physically there showing them, room to room. This is what we're working on. This is how we found the deal. This is how we funded the deal. You let everybody in your team talk a little bit, do their little commercial spiel, and then at the end you ask them, so hey, who wants to learn to do what I'm doing? Who wants to learn how to be an active investor like me and make money off flips or any other type of investment deal? And you get some folks that raise your hand, and there's your stream of income from network marketing. And then you ask, okay, who wants to just, maybe you've got capital, but you don't have time to actively do this yourself. Who wants to, just sit back on their couch and make money off my deal and be that lazy passive investor, right? And then you're building your list of private money lenders on that side. So that's two dimensions. And then the third dimension is the deal itself that you're going to make money on. So you've got two ways to profit. And then you're also building private money, which will help you to do more deals. Because private money is a lot cheaper than, hard money and all the other stuff out there.
Yeah, and even when it's not, the bonus side of private money is it moves faster. It's
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so that's one area where I need to work on a little more is building that list of folks. So yeah, this year so far, I've been going to a lot of like just networking events in person out here and meeting folks for both of those avenues, basically just letting people know, hey, if you want to actively invest, I can help you. If you want to passively invest, I'm always looking for deals. Because what I'm trying to do this year is I'm trying to scale. So starting with this 5 units and but I'm really interested in like 8 units and above. Um, because the more it's one transaction you get and you get more doors, and even if it's a little bit less cash flow per door, there's just a lot of advantages of doing that. And so but I don't personally have the capital to go in there and throw down 20-25% on a 12 unit or an 8 unit apartment complex. So that's why I'm networking in that regard. However, every successful investor I've talked to so far who invests in multifamily has told me the same thing, which is don't worry about the money, just go find the deal. Just go find the deal and get it under contract and then worry about the money. And I'm like, but I don't have I don't have the partners in place. Like, don't
so
worry about
see,
it.
in our community, they teach you just the opposite. Go
Oh,
build
really?
go build the relationships first,
Yeah.
and then go. You can find the deal if you got the money. People will bring you the deal if you got the money. So you find the money first. Not only that, but if you're doing the private lending right, I feel, and obviously they do too, that you need to have a relationship.
Yeah.
And so you got to build that relationship before somebody just wants to hand you over
Yeah. Yeah,
hard-earned
for
money.
sure.
I mean, not that some don't just do that, but I mean,
Yeah.
in all honesty, there's some that are lucky when they do that and they find the person that's honest and going to take them through it the right way, all the way. And then but there's also ones that aren't that way. And so
Yeah.
that's
For
in.
sure. Yeah. And I think, their point was don't stop networking. It's just don't wait to go find a deal until you know you have all this money locked up or whatever. Because I'm not selling a fund or anything. I'm just, I am looking for partnerships. So it wouldn't be private money, in the traditional sense of a note and a mortgage or a note and a deed of trust. It would be an actual LLC that we would create with me and one or two partners. They would bring the equity or they would bring the capital and be more or less, silent partners, and but have a say on the more major decisions. And I would kind of just run the whole deal. I'd find the deal, I'd negotiate the deal, I get all the, I have my team in place there to run the deal and make it happen. And so, yeah, that's kind of the structure. But I will say it is. I see their point in that one, if you get something under contract, now you've got something you can market, right? So you can make nice flyers or whatever, pitch decks, and you can go to those people that you've met through networking and built that relationship. And maybe you didn't even talk about money up to this point, but now all of a sudden you got a deal and like, hey, I got this deal. Here's the numbers. Here's your projected return. Do you want to learn more and talk about it? And kind of lights a fire under you, I think, to go out there and do that and make it
Yeah.
happen. Um, and then, like I said, you've got an actual deal that you can present instead of just, oh, a hypothetical or a sample idea of what it might be.
Yeah.
Because yeah. So yeah, I see both sides for sure. I think the biggest thing is just taking action. And I think if you're doing both things, and like if I'm going out there and I'm networking with commercial brokers who are doing multifamily, and I let them know, hey, if you get deals, send them my way. I'll take a look. And you're also out there networking and meeting people and building relationships, and then you have people you can go to and start talking about this when you find a deal. So
That is the bonus side too of the networking is maybe you didn't talk about money and maybe that person doesn't have the money, but if they're doing active deals, they probably know who's got the money. So
right,
yeah, in all honesty, I'd rather choose both than either or in
yeah,
the same way. I just focused on one more heavily than the other. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
my focus lately has been the private money. I've got a partner
uh,
that she focuses on the wholesalers because we're having them bring the deals to us, and she focuses on that. And then between her and the other partner, they're the operations part of the business too. And so I just get to be the face of it. So for the most part.
nice. Yeah. And the other thing I didn't even mention that other folks who have had success with raising capital in our group, um, in fact, one of them had told me he's raised over, I think he said $30 million just through, and it was mostly through this one strategy, which is self-directed retirement accounts. And we got a whole class on that. I have a self-directed retirement account. I lend that money out to other investors, and so that's where a lot of folks in our group might not have capital in their personal bank account, but they likely have a retirement account. And if it's not tied up with the current employer, and if it's enough to go in on a deal, then that's definitely a solid way to do it too. So
Absolutely. So I actually teach on the self-directed accounts
nice.
and actually have a safety handbook or guide that one gets. So they, whether they invest with me or not, I want them to be safe with their money. And then
Yeah.
just to say the education on the self-directed accounts. I actually learned about self-directed accounts back in 98. And back
Okay.
then I was like, well, I don't really have any financial friends. And since you can't do deals and you can't play in your own sandbox, basically.
Yeah.
I didn't do it back then, and now when I found some of these groups and whatnot, or communities and whatnot, I've been wow, and just that's my sandbox now is teaching people because I mean, I really want people to have success with us, and even if it's not with us, I want them to have live their best life, and so that's
Yeah.
hopefully what I can do out of the trainings and stuff is just that help them live their best lives and maybe they don't choose the real estate path, but it's still with the self-directed. I mean, right now with the stock market where it's at, there's a lot of people going to be moving money out,
Yeah.
and that money's got to go somewhere, and the best place for it is honestly in real estate. And so
Yeah.
I was actually with a buddy today that I've been teaching him about some of it, or basically talking with him about some of the self-directed accounts, and he had a Zoom going with Grant Cardone today.
Oh,
And
nice.
Grant actually talked about how many trillions of dollars are actually in 401ks
Yeah.
that, some of these people can move it out and play through self-directed accounts and
Yeah.
really make more money. And then they don't have to be
Or even,
scared with the stock market, especially if they're on the lending side, because they've got the security of knowing that payment's coming as that contract says, and the security, but even behind that if they've done it right, then there's still 25% equity in the property if
uh-huh.
if something unfortunate happens to a bad or in a bad way or something, then they've still got access to get their money and even plus their money if it goes bad on the investor side. So as long
Hmm.
as you're doing it right, obviously there's plenty that don't do it right, and that's why I think the education there is big.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Love Grant Cardone. I've got one of his I'm watching right now one of his classes as well on I forget what it's called. It's basically like a it's like an intro to buying apartment complexes. It might be that might even be the name. I don't know. But yeah, I did some coaching through there and through his program and yeah, and that was like an add-on that they just threw in there like, "Oh, you like real estate," and I was kind of playing hardball and they so they just threw in some extra stuff, but they got enough money out of me. So
Yeah. I
they're ruthless, man. Like
when it comes
they're
to
damn
sales,
good sales.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing is when it comes to sales,
Yeah.
if you're wanting to learn sales or you need to learn it because of the business you're in or whatnot,
Yeah.
that's the guy to emulate.
Yeah.
To some degree. I mean, I went through his sales courses and whatnot, and actually, I think that the Sandler method is better, but not to say that his don't make money. Obviously, he ain't a multi-billionaire because it don't make money. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of my
Yeah.
personality. I connect better with the other method. But yeah, if you want to learn sales, that's the place to go. And obviously, he does good in real estate. I think that the yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, most of the real estate stuff, like 99% of it, I've learned through this group that I'm in. But I'm always open to learn from other
Yeah.
folks, especially as I get into the bigger apartment complexes and stuff. So, um, you got to be willing to learn and continue to grow in that space. And um, so I don't know, I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Um, yeah,
Yep.
see what happens.
Me too. Me too. We're excited for these next few stages, right, of our growth. Um,
Absolutely.
so Chris, if somebody wants to connect with you, what's the best way they can connect with you?
Yeah, so well, one, I don't know if we can drop a link or something in the text of the actual podcast, but
Yeah, I can
I
look.
have a okay, great. I have a Linktree account, so it's literally just linktree.com/ the flow authority. And if you go there, you'll see my profile and you'll be able to see my phone number, email. You can book a call. You can connect with me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram,
Nice.
TikTok, whatever your favorite social media platform is.
Very
You're
nice.
welcome.
What's your Instagram handle?
I think it's also just the Flow Authority. Yeah.
Nice.
Try to make them all as much as possible the same. So I think for X, it's X Flow Authority because the Flow Authority was taken, I guess. So,
Oh,
or
interesting.
maybe it was too long, something like that. But
Gotcha. Well, cool, cool. I appreciate your time, man. And for y'all listeners and whatnot, don't forget to reach out to Chris and let's help him in his path. And if you want to learn something from him, reach out to him and let's go.
awesome. Thanks
All
for
right.
watching, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be a guest on your podcast, Jody. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Chris. It was great having you, man.